August 10th, 2024, and it's our honor to be speaking with Mr. John J. Jeckovich. He's got a great sense of humor, too.
Kind of a dry one.
He's got a great sense of humor. It's our honor to be speaking, and a pleasure to speaking with Mr. John J. Jeckovich, a highly decorated World War II veteran.
Highly decorated. Who you kidding?
Did you receive a Purple Heart, Mr. Jeckovich?
Huh?
Did you receive a Purple Heart, Mr. Jeckovich?
Did I?
Yes. Did you receive a Purple Heart from World War II? Did you receive 2 Bronze Stars from World War II?
No bronze. Yeah, Bronze Stars.
Okay,
Yeah.
correct. Okay. We'll continue. And it's going to be one of these days where we're going to plow right through it.
What?
It's going to be one of these days where we're going to plow right through it. So I'm here to have the honor and privilege of speaking with Mr. John J. Jeckovich. And we're reading his book, Their Mother's Sons, that he wrote approximately 20-some years ago. And this book takes you from maybe kindergarten all the way to his retirement and more. And more. It takes him through him taking care of his mother, witnessing his father's death, being drafted into World War II, coming out of World War II with a sniper wound to the shoulder, shrapnel still in his right leg. Then it takes you over to him getting married, raising a family, opening up a duplex giant wash.
Two.
Oh yeah, a laundry business. Working at Kimberly-Clark 35 years. It also includes running a snowplow business. And then after that, he goes into retirement. He's with his wonderful wife, Delphine Stulak Jeckovich, for 69 years. She recently died, and she was a great wife and mother to all. And now Mr. John Jeckovich is knocking on the door of 100, and many people talked about his longevity. We get texts every single day. Every text I receive, I let Mr. Jeckovich read it, and I respond within 2 or 3 days. If you ever want to text a question to Mr. Jeckovich, no matter what subject, text us at, the text phone number is 407-366-0000, 407-366-0000, or from my hometown, Defusky Island, South Carolina, we call it 407-366-0000. If you're South Carolina, we say it this way, 407-366-0000. So, if you have any questions for Mr. Jeckovich, once again, he'll read every one of the text, and within 2 or 3 days, I'll text you back his response.
Here's one.
Let's see, text just came in. Where is it? Okay, here's one, Mr. Jeckovich. Are you ready?
Yeah.
The Brits and Canadians were well north where the U.S. were in the line. The Crouch targeted the U.S. forces, and the Brits sent forces south to plug the gaps and stop the deepest breakthrough at Celis. Monty actually took over from Eisenhower, who had been sequestered. Brits and Canadians worked hard throughout. You got any comments on that?
The Brits and the Canadians worked hard.
Well, yeah, they worked hard, yeah.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
Okay. But let me just add to that. Dwight D. Eisenhower, in response to this text, I will tell you, he had a lot to deal with, not only the war, he had to deal with these American generals with great big egos, mainly General Patton and others. General Eisenhower commanded the Allied forces in North Africa in November of 1942. It was his first combat assignment Eisenhower ever had. However, he had several, and I'm saying several, temperamental generals under his command, such as Patton and Montgomery. These Patton and Montgomery were always at each other's throats.
Yeah.
And these generals had huge egos.
Yeah.
And Eisenhower, it was a tough enough job of running World War II, but he also had to control the egos of these men, which was difficult. It was difficult. As he was a supreme Allied commander during the Normandy landings and later campaigns in Europe. He kept, this is so true, he kept the bickering subordinates under control and comfortably liaisoned with his political leaders. Then later, after the war, Eisenhower served 2 terms as president. What did you think of Eisenhower?
Eisenhower's a good man, yeah. Good soldier.
Good soldier? How about being a president?
Being a president,
Yeah.
well, out of his field.
Okay, out of his field, over his head. But, you know, some of the people that come to mind in dealing with was Patton. Patton probably had the biggest ego of them all. And towards the end of the war, winding down, it was very interesting. Some other generals, and these guys had big egos too, some other generals, when they thought the war was winding down in December of 1944, they were mistaken. Some of these other generals were taking their time and going golfing, high-dollar country clubs. Other generals were going to the most expensive gunsmiths and having pearl handle pistols made, beautiful hunting shotguns made. And other generals were living the limelight as celebrities going to certain weddings. But Patton didn't go for that in December of 1944. Patton was against these other generals living such a life of leisure. Patton basically said about the whole thing, December 25th, 1944 is my birthday, and I don't think the war is winding down. And what better birthday present could I have than killing a few more Germans? And that's exactly what Patton did on his birthday when these other guys were celebrating the war was over, but not by far. And then we came right into the Battle of Bulge, and at the Battle of Bulge was a very, very bloody battle. In fact, it was the last great battles. It started in December 44, and this was Hitler's last shot. Hitler gambled on his last attempt, attempting to repeat the success of his May 40 invasion as he lost the offensive in Ardennes region of Belgium. The Allies were caught off guard and desperate winter fighting ensued. What was the weather like during December of 44 and January of 45? What was
Summer?
Yeah, December.
Summer was good.
No, December 44 at the Battle of Bulge. What was the weather like? The beginning of the Battle of Bulge.
Now, that was the winter time.
Yeah, I heard that was
That
like
was cold. It was getting cold.
Coldest winter.
The coldest winter in years.
coldest winter in 20 and 30 years, and you had to trudge through the snow. How high was most of the snow? When you were
2 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet.
and sometimes taller, deeper.
Well, depending where the snow was drifting, yeah.
And galoshes for boots.
And you had galoshes of boots. You didn't have the proper
We
equipment.
didn't have no equipment. We didn't have the equipment.
What was your boots? Describe your boots.
The boots
Yeah.
were issued later.
No,
They
during the
were-
Battle of
they were
Bulge.
waterproof,
Yeah.
They had fur lined inside, and they were well made, and they've been up to your calf, middle of your calf.
Prior to that, what kind of boots did you have?
We had those buckle boots that I went to school with.
You had buckled boots that you went to high school with.
And you buckle 4 buckles.
But February of 1945, this was so-called the Battle of the Bulge, was over and the scene was set for the final act. Soviet forces, did you run across many Soviets?
Any,
Soviet soldiers?
no.
Soviet forces entered Germany from the east, closing in on Berlin. And in March, the Western Allies crossed into the Rhine. Hitler threw all available men into a desperate last defense. The German people suffered desperately. When we're saying the German people, that's the citizens, but the soldiers had very high numbers of casualties. And towards the end, Hitler was throwing in so-called soldiers, 12 and 13 years old, and he was throwing in so-called soldiers in their 50s and 60s. It was absolutely horrible. But especially at the hands of the Russian soldiers, German people suffered desperately. But sympathy was short in supply as the overrunning of the camps at Auschwitz revealed the mass murder practiced by the Nazi regime under the cloak of war. Primarily SS, those were bad people. Very horrible people, no conscience, no empathy. Advancing American and Soviet troops met amicably at the Elbe River. Have you ever been at the Elbe River?
Yeah.
On April 25th, by agreement between the Allies, the costly honor of taking Berlin fell to the Soviets. On April 30th, as Soviet forces fought their way into the German capital, Hitler committed suicide. It's interesting how Hitler committed suicide. He was at his big mansion for many years during this war with the most elaborate dinners and surroundings and all the multi-million-dollar paintings, or probably billion-dollar paintings now, that he stole from the people in Paris. And he, in his last few days, he was in the bunker with his girlfriend or somebody he just married a few days prior, and they both committed suicide. And under the strict orders, their body, Hitler gave them instructions to take them out back, pour gallons and gallons and gallons of gasoline on both him and his girlfriend, and burn them. They didn't want anyone to have any part of their bodies at all. What do you think would have happened to Hitler if he didn't commit suicide?
Did what?
If Hitler did not commit suicide, what do you think would have happened to Hitler?
Well, he'd go to trial.
And after that, the German commanders surrendered in Italy, and in Germany on May 4th, a final surrender took place on May 7th. So what a lot of people don't know, the war in European theater ended, but there's still a lot of fighting going on in the Pacific.
Yeah.
They didn't shut down for a few months, or many months after that. And in Italy, Mussolini, the man of terror and destruction, what finally happened to his body?
16 minutes.
His body and his girlfriend's and wife's body, they strung them up by their feet in the town center, and they just like beat the living shit out of his dead body. Everyone hated Mussolini for what he did to Italy. So that, I hope that answers the question proposed, but Canada and the Brits took a great big part in the war, of course. But people have to remember, the war was for the most part in Europe. We never had any problems in any war at that time in the United States. And the United States had involved in World War II 16,400,000 American citizens, both men and women. Not many on the front line. I mean, these were all rear echelon support of the combat soldiers. Mr. Jeckovich was a combat soldier. He was on the back line, putting boxes in ships or typing up memos or censoring females. He was on the front line. And out of these 16,400,000 young men and women served, there's less than 100,000 left. And there's approximately 8,000 left. 8,000 left that were in the combat. That's a big thing. 8,000 left that were in the combat. And we're losing them at a rate of 135 a day, maybe more. And all these vets, World War II vets, are late 90s and above. So, instead of reading history books, text the real man, text the real deal. Ask him what you want to ask. He's here. Mr. Jeckovich is in great shape. Sharp as a tack. Only thing they gave out was his knees. He jogged for 80 years. He could read the newspaper without glasses. Never took a prescription in his life. He knows all about it. He's been there. Text whatever questions you have to this World War II vet at 407-366-0000. All texts will be responded, and all texts will be answered personally by Mr. Jeckovich. So, now we're still reading his book of chapter 14. We're on page 400. Page 400. There's about 900 pages in this book. So when Mr. Jeckovich sat down to write, he just didn't do a few little notes. He wrote books. He wrote long books. So, page 400, chapter 14, Catacombs and Revoir. And let's see, docu-series 299. Docu-series 299. Here we go. I took her hand and we lay side by side on the floor. I kissed her gently and held it to my lips. I wanted to say something, but was to be overcome to verbalize what I was feeling. We lay there side by side, the crackle and hissing of the fire breaking silence, yet not penetrating our thoughts. I felt a deep compassion for this woman, her name's Renee, yet I sensed deeply that she was destined for a higher elevation in life, something greater than my love and affection. Yes. After a while I whispered gently, Renee, it's getting late. I have to go. She turned to me. Yes, I know. She murmured barely audibly. She then rolled on top of me and began kissing me. I put my arms around her tightly to me, feeling the first time the full impact of her body and the arousal it created me. Okay, if this gets any heavier, I'm going to skip a few paragraphs here. Let me see. Let me pre-read this thing. This is a family damn melody.
This is a family show.
Okay, back off. Let me look at the. Okay, I'm skipping a few paragraphs. With a quick motion, she turned over the second later and was standing over me, hand outstretched to help me up. You must go, it's late, she whispered. I got up and she held me with my jacket, kissing me on the neck as she put my collar down. Minutes?
It's about 10 minutes, I think.
Minutes?
10?
All right, listen. I hear something humming.
I don't hear it.
It's like
Maybe
whistling. Well, I hear humming. It's messing up my earphones.
Okay.
What the hell's humming? I can't hear.
I don't know.
She paused for a moment, then replied, here if you like. I said the next be fine, kissed her and bid her au revoir.
Here you go, John.
No, what's humming?
I don't know. Vacuum? The vacuum, I don't know.
You hear a vacuum?
I hear a vacuum.
Where's the vacuum? Well, you tell that guy vacuuming where I'm talking with a World War II vet.
All right, I'll go
Wait, you tell him, he have respect for World War II vet. I don't want to have humming when I'm trying to talk to this World War II vet.
Okay.
I want that vacuum shut off. Listen,
Yes.
ask him in a nice way.
I will.
And if he doesn't comply,
Yeah.
please ask him very polite. We're interviewing a World War II. If I can't hear with this vacuum humming. If he doesn't comply, you tell him
Yeah.
that I'm going to take that vacuum and I'm going to shove it up his ass sideways. But be
Okay.
polite. Try to handle it.
All right, I will.
Do it diplomatically, okay?
Okay.
I can't hear a damn thing. He paused for the moment and replied, "Here if you like." I said this would be fine, kissed her and bid her au revoir. The next morning at the hospital there was another shipment out, of which Mr. Jeckovich? Mr. Jeckovich,
Yes.
got a beautiful gift for you. Got a beautiful gift for you. Try it on, leave it on for the next couple of minutes. Let's see how you look.
That's a rebel hat.
You got beautiful new clothes on. Okay, let me get a picture and send it to you.
That
you look
looks
good,
nice.
Huh?
Yeah.
You look nice. Let me get a picture, I'll show it to you. But get a picture, but shut that damn vacuum. Wave, there you go. You look wonderful,
One
Mr.
more up here.
Jeckovich. Mr. Jeckovich, you look wonderful. You look good in that hat. Let me show you what you look like. Just sit still, don't move. Don't sit still, don't move. Don't move.
You want that, John? Here.
No.
Now look at this.
Very sharp.
Whoa, I look like a cab driver.
You don't. You got a great sense of humor, Mr.
What
Jeckovich.
about the tank?
Get that vacuum taken.
right.
Just leave it on, Mr. Jeckovich.
Leave it on. It looks
We've
good.
got to get out for the reading. I mean, it looks very nice in it. You got new clothes on. You got everything looking
New
sharp.
clothes on, I got new clothes on.
You get new clothes
I don't
every.
want to pass it so
You
damn
got
quick.
new clothes every day. Well, you got to start eating more. Take that, Mr. Jeckovich. Turn it around. That's a gift from Barth Hugenstraken.
Who?
Barth Hugenstraken. Barth Hugenstraken. He was in the Holland resistance during World War II. He lives on Defusky Island. Barth.
You got a clock in it.
Yeah,
Wow, that's cool.
that's from Barth Hugenstraken. He gave me that to give to you. He's my neighbor at Defusky Island, South Carolina. He's a little bit older than you, and he was in the resistance in Holland during World War II.
Show it to the camera, John.
Hold it up.
Hold it up to the
And I'm
camera.
gonna take a picture so I can show it to Barth. Barth Hugenstraken, a
Yeah,
very
show him
great
the
man.
clock part. That's cool.
A very great man. And listen, they're from the old country, and they're knocking on the door of 100 like you. And every time I go to visit them, they're my neighbors. They're always wearing the old-fashioned clothes you'd wear in Holland: wool suits, shoes, tie, hat. Wife is wearing long wool dresses. They're always dressed up, no matter what time of day and night. They're wonderful people.
Yeah, I'll
They're
put that
wonderful
right up
people.
here.
So that's your little gift from him, and it's a clock. It's a
Yeah.
clock.
Yeah.
All right, how many minutes I got?
We got 6.
All right, thank you for getting the damn vacuum shut up.
6.
Now I can hear. Okay, let's see. With one motion, she turned over, and a second later was standing over me with her hand outstretched to help me up. You must go, it's late. Were you ever late to return to base?
The what?
Were you ever late in returning to base? When you left Paris to go back to your base,
No, I was never able, no.
you were right on time.
Yeah.
Never AWOL.
Well, that's what they would call it, right? If you didn't show up, you would be considered AWOL, right? Yeah. And that'd be a harsh punishment. I got up and she helped me with the jacket, kissing me on the neck as she put down my collar. As we walked to the door, I asked her where I was to meet her tomorrow. She paused for a minute and replied, "Here if you like." I said that would be fine, kissed her and bid her au revoir. The next morning at the hospital, there was another shipment out. Were you on this shipment?
No.
Oh, you're lucky. We've left our ward almost empty. Now the ward's almost empty. Everyone's back to the front line. I wonder why they're holding you back.
I don't know what the hell they're over.
I have been here almost 2 weeks and have not seen a doctor or gone for an evaluation session in the same length of time. I walked without a limp and felt no pain, nor did I have any problems in my leg or arm. For all intents and purposes, you are fit for duty. Is that what they told you? You're fit for duty?
Yeah.
Was that your term, fit for duty? And it would be not long before I would be processed and stamped RTD. What did RTD stand for? You would be stamped RTD.
RCD?
RTD. RTD. You would be ready, you would be processed and stamped RTD.
RCD?
RTD. You would,
Ready for service.
you got it. By the hospital staff here, and I would be relieved by leaving here, but much more dismayed and not seeing Renee again. Did you ever see Renee again?
Nope, nope.
I still had not written home or to either Jean or Anne. I recall Jean's pleading in her letters for me to write even a short note, just to say that I was all right. I still felt bad in not writing, but it always resolved itself into the same conclusion, my indecision and vacillation. I felt it better that I did not write. I felt it better that I did not write. Hello? Is that Claire? No, come behind me. I felt it better that I did not write, rather than prolong the inevitable. What's the inevitable? You'll never see him again?
Yeah. What's going on?
Claire.
Huh?
Claire. Claire.
We're gonna sit
It's a
on
pleasure
this
to
side,
see her.
go underneath.
Claire.
Yes.
Claire. Remember she sat here all the time?
He's back?
And I'm
behind
gonna push
you.
you through so you can sit next to John.
Well, how you doing, Claire? Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
You're looking well. You can just sit right here because it's kind of tight.
Yeah.
Hi.
You're looking well. You're looking well, Claire. I like your new outfit. That's nice. I like it. I was telling my dad that we missed you here every night. We love to hear you. We love to hear you. You had a lot of good input to this book.
Yes.
What's how many minutes?
Are you
Oh, let's
staying
see.
here? Here?
1 minute.
No, we're
and
staying.
56 seconds.
Yeah, she's still here.
Huh?
Yeah, she came to visit.
I live in
Here.
there. Well, actually, not in this building, but in this area.
Oh, yeah.
How
Well,
many
good.
minutes?
About 1 minute.
Okay, well, I'll pick up the second chapter. Claire, we're reading my dad. He's in a hospital in Paris for several months, and he's getting ready to go back to the war. And that's what we're reading about now. And so that's where we're at. We're at chapter 14. And I think the last time we had a pleasure and honor of seeing you, we were on chapter 9. So we missed a lot, but I'm glad that you're here.
Yeah.
We were always wondering where you're coming. And so we're going to keep on reading on chapter 14
1 minute left.
after we put a new disc in. So you've been doing well, though, Claire? You look in good shape. Yeah,
Reasonably so.
Good.
yeah.
A bit of ups and downs. So how are you?
Everyone's doing good, Claire. Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, you're fine.
Claire,
Fine.
you're never interruption.
Never.
It's always a pleasure to see you, Claire. It really is. It really is. And my father's happy to see you also. So you want to start a new segment? No, start-
Yeah.
We missed you.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. All right. I'll put it on.
Okay. I'm gonna start a new